Yes, everybody, welcome to another episode of Know the Code. Good to have you with us. Good to be with you.
Greetings and salutations.
Yes, and nothing less. And today we bring you a variety of topics. We're going to explore a few things, man. Being that we are from New York, do live in New York, one thing that has been looming over the area recently is the death of Junior, as he's named. You know, rest in peace to the young man. An unfortunate victim of violence, something that we see a little bit too often. I shouldn't even say a little bit, a lot too often in our communities. And, you know, we just want to take a moment to reflect on the situation. There were a lot of judgments made, a lot of people, you know, said a lot of things. It was an emotional situation. So, of course, a lot of people weighed in. What did y'all think about it, personally?
Well,
your first thoughts upon first hearing about it?
There's so many different aspects of the situation that I question that, well, like, from what I heard, it all started because some gentleman couldn't handle the fact that a woman in their family was exploring her sexuality. And a videotape got out regarding that. And I'm kind of putting it in a clean package, but it does speak to a bunch of niggas getting in their feelings. You know what I'm saying? Because you mad at this person who, it turns out, wasn't even the motherfucker you was looking for. You know what I'm saying? So your inability to process your emotions led you to hunt down the wrong individual and take him off the earth. And
you could see even when they had the video of them in court, you know, the dudes that got caught that was involved or allegedly involved. It only takes a second to ruin the rest of your life, you know? And you can look at it at just the image of, you know, those young brothers in that scenario, and some of them are crying their eyes out, and the other ones are cold as ice.
Yeah.
You know? And you could just see who might be about it and who might not. You know, but it's a shame. There are no winners. You know, and that's where for every community, man, I think the goal is to tone down the violence. You know, like, there has to be ways to deal with things outside of violence. You know, and I'm not someone who lives in the dark and thinks violence is never an answer or never necessary. Like, that's to me foolish. You know, but I also think there are certain scenarios that could be avoided, that if it was mediated, if there was somewhere to get that sorted out in a way that's
or a political way.
Right, that's agreeable. Like, to go off topic, there was this I think it was like a Netflix documentary where in some town somewhere where, like, yo, if dudes had an issue, they met in the backyard, threw hands. You shake hands after, you go home. You know, if it's that serious.
Right.
You know, but other than that, it's just that's the shame of it all is
very practical.
They killed the wrong kid. You know, you wish there was a way to kind of try to mediate whatever issue there was, and I don't know the whole backstory. I'd be lying, I didn't get to you know, get any information on that, but
right.
You know, it just, you know, the outcome is obviously life changing for, you know, a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to me as a parent, you know what I'm saying, like, having children, you kind of understand the importance of community and a village. You know what I'm saying? Being able to raise a child. We can't just be concerned with what's going on with our children. You know what I'm saying? We can't afford to. Because things that are going on in the environment are going to affect them. You know what I'm saying? At some point. And I don't know, man. I can't process what a parent goes through losing a child, especially in those circumstances, in any circumstance, but especially to have their life taken from them. You know what I'm saying? And in this age, to have it videotaped and played back.
And that's what brings it to a whole nother level, because you hear stories about things, but to see it, you know, and I only saw a portion of the video, like, there was after a certain point I didn't really want to see anymore, but because I'd already heard what happened, and, you know, but it's it brings it to a whole nother level of experience for someone to see it. You know, and again, this is a kid, you know, young kid. You know, these aren't grown men. You know, it just
all around, like the victim and the assailants.
And it's funny how perspectives flip, because at one point when we were all younger, you know what I'm saying? Like the viewpoint wouldn't have been the same. Put it like that.
Word.
Like I said, as a parent, as having kids, I couldn't relate to that dynamic at a certain point in my life. You understand what I'm saying? So where the younger generation's mind is at, I understand. But even to look at it from the perspective I'm sitting in, it's unfortunate and it's sad, because I'm sitting up here right now and a lot of people got caught up right here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Participating in the same activities.
And as you talk about being a parent, man, I think that's like one of the biggest things that keep me up at night as a parent, you know, so to speak, is I want to teach my kids good decision making. Like, you got to understand when a scenario is not a good idea. You got to know when you're in a situation that's not a good situation, you need to go ahead and go somewhere else. You know, remove it. Like, just understanding when you're in a bad place, you know, takes you to, unfortunately, the kids that passed away on the Meadowbrook from Uniondale. You know, like 10 kids in the car. Like, you know, there's just some things where you kind of look at the scenario like, yo, this probably not gonna end. This probably not gonna go well, because there's just so much going on. You know what I mean? And you just looking at the scenario and saying, yeah, this isn't looking good. You know, but it just brings you back to the kids involved, as far as whoever did it to them. You know, it's like, find another way. You know what I mean?
It's like, I'm not a parent, so, but I'm older than the younger cats in the hood, so I feel like any knowledge or wisdom that I have, if I can, I need to impart it to them. And I feel like it was a situation where those 6 individuals did not have anybody imparting wisdom on them. Because, like you said, they didn't have a better way of dealing with the situation. You know what I'm saying? If someone presented them with an option, like maybe they were, and they completely was like, fuck that shit, I'm gonna do what the fuck I want. But then it's like, we didn't present them with the skills to analytically take that wisdom and use it properly. You know what I'm saying? Like, somewhere down the line, they were failed. Somewhere down the line, we all have to take the blame. You know what I'm saying? Because we are a community. You know what I'm saying? That's what we say. You know what I'm saying? So, we failed them somehow, some way. And it's easy to blame the bodega owner. You know what I'm saying? Because he didn't do this, that, or the third to save Junior. You know what I'm saying? But there's this, that, and the third on our end as well.
True indeed.
We need to consider that.
Now, knowing that, right? Knowing what you said, there's certain situations in life, and we all know this, that can take place, that can rip your heart out your chest, and create certain voids that can't be filled. So, using history as our guide, as you said, and we knowing this is a problem in the community, I just believe it's in our best benefit to apply a lot of energy in the direction of guiding. You know what I'm saying? In some way, not saying we have all the answers, but just trying at least to, and I don't even mean to use that word trying, but doing something. You know what I'm saying? To create an example of good decision making in life and the benefits of good decision making, as you pointed to earlier. You know what I'm saying?
Choices.
Because what happens to others could easily happen to us. You know what I'm saying? It's not far from home. We all know this. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a bad situation, man. You touched on the bodega owners though, and I think that was interesting because they received a lot of flack for what people thought were not helping out enough in that situation. When I first heard about that, my first thought was, you know, you don't know what you're going to do until you're in that situation. You know what I'm saying?
That's very much
As
true.
a man, we all know this. You know what I'm saying? You could say, yeah, I would have been, you know, hypothetically speaking, but until you're in those shoes, you don't know what you're going to do. As it turns out, the bodega owners actually did try to help him. They hit him behind the counter for a little while. They tried to go back and forth with, you know, the the men that were in there looking for him. But whatever happened, happened. They called the police after. You know what I'm saying? To try to make sure he received help. They said the ambulance was taking too long. So they told him to go to the hospital. You know, I wouldn't... It's a lot of anger behind what happened. And I think, like you said, instead of being responsible and saying that it was me, a lot of that is misdirected.
Yeah.
And that was an easy target for people to put their, you know what I'm saying, blame on.
Yeah.
I know you said that store's closed, and that's what gotta do. Like, you can't do business in the neighborhood. Because everybody walk around like, oh, they did, you know, they did Junior wrong. You know, and I mean, it looks like there was a video that kind of showed they tried to help him or whatever, but, you know, I think, again, people are angry, and this is the mob mentality, and this is the interesting dichotomy of it. You could see in the video when they were going after the kid, that's the pack. You know what I mean? Like, the pack was tuned up. They were running. You could see how they looked when they walked on camera, that they were on the prowl. You know what I mean?
Right.
And on the back end now, you got a pack of people who are just angry. You know what I mean? And it's like, someone has to feel my pain.
Right.
You know? And I don't know. There's the only good thing that could come from something like that is hopefully continued progress on decreasing the violence in the hood. You know, because I think there's a way to decrease it. You can't eliminate it. Like, let's be real. There's no way to just say, all right, there's going to be no... Hopefully that's a goal, you know, but I think that's a goal that's less attainable than saying, let's just decrease it. Let's figure out a way to create a forum.
First step.
To sort out our issues.
But I mean, mathematically, over the last 20 years, if you look at it, and I haven't looked at the recent stats in the last year or so, right? But if you look at it, black on black crime, as they call it, has been on a decline. You know what I'm saying? So we have been working on it. And hopefully this will add to that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that we can continue to work on it, because a lot of times, let's be honest, man, we glorify the wrong shit. You know what I'm saying? And there's some valor to be found in it. Don't get it wrong. It's some valor to be found in having strength and being a warrior.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And being about your business. But I just think a lot of that is misdirected. You know what I mean? It's easy to see why, because we only deal with each other. We don't do business outside of our communities very often. If we, you know what I'm saying, or whatever the case as far as interactions are concerned.
And that's most people. Most people deal with who's in their proximity. Okay? That's why it's misleading when you say black on black crime, because it's really person that's close to me crime. You know what I'm saying? It's you're nearby. So if you have something that I need, it's easier for me to take it from you than to go a couple towns over and deal with being an outsider and, you know what I'm saying, having to be a real criminal. You know what I'm saying? And that's another side of it. It's like the criminals in these gentlemen's neighborhood should have schooled them. And they should have known that they would have been on camera. And they should have known that, secondly, if you're going to get somebody, you get who you're supposed to get. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't accidentally get a motherfucker who look like the dude you're trying to get. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's the moral side of things and the other side of things. You know what I'm saying? There's so much... There's a vacuum of leadership on both sides. That's what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm saying? It's just... It's a travesty, because, like you said, the same way we're never going to do away with violence, the illicit world, the underworld, the shit that happens on the other side of the law is going to be there. There's always going to be the other side of the law. You know what I'm saying? And people are operating on that side of the law in our communities because it's inevitable. It's, you know what I'm saying? It has to occur because we're humans and we don't rock at extremes. We play both sides of things. You know what I'm saying? And there's people out here doing things you're supposed to be doing when you're operating on the other side of the law, but they're not. Like, we have this idea that we all need to build our own empire. You know what I'm saying? So when you're thinking, I need to build my empire, I need to make sure that your empire doesn't impede on mine. So part of that is the things I know that work, I can't let you know about them because you might slow down what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying?
It's a system of competition. And
But,
you know, competition, you got winners and you got losers, man. You know, it's simple mathematics.
when the fact of the matter is collaboration brings in way more windfall.
Always. Always.
Sharing information is important, man. You know, and I think that that's something that people got to be more comfortable doing. You know, because everybody finds out different things about different things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I think it's interesting if you ask enough people if you need to find something out, you usually find someone who knows the answer. You know, it just law of large numbers. You know.
Word.
Yeah, man, I mean, it's a game. And that's why people call it that. They call it the game because they recognize that it's about nothing else but competition. But it's not about the championship trophy. It's about who's going to eat and who's not going to eat. And when we put in a position purposely where you're not going to eat, you're going to find ways to eat. Which is why in our communities, a lot of times you will find, like you said, people operating on the other side of the law. Now, an interesting question was posed, and I'm sure a lot of people out there are familiar with it. We act like crabs in a barrel, but who built the barrel? You know, who set the conditions? And this is what we're operating under. But once we understand that, we start to understand that our competition needs to be against a certain opponent. You understand what I'm saying? And we won't be fighting amongst each other so much because we'll see the strength and come together. But that takes what you said. It's missing the schooling, the guidance. You know what I'm saying? From people that understand. And when you try to keep the information to yourself, you ultimately end up losing. Companies get rich because they garner investors. They tell people about the business opportunities that they have available to them. So as more investors they get, the stronger they get. The more money they make, for their investors. The more the investors tell other people about them. And that chain keeps on moving.
So they up, people around them is up.
Mm-hmm.
So if they happen to be down, the people around them who are up,
there you go.
you know what I'm saying? When you the only one up in your circle, and then you're down just like everybody else.
Yep.
Who's gonna help you? You didn't help anybody up. You know what I'm saying? You didn't create a support system. You didn't create affluence all around you so that even when you wasn't on your game, the game is still abundant. You know what I'm saying? And it's like we too often focus on the short-term goal. You know what I'm saying? The instant gratification. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we really just sit down and think about things like we have everything we need to do what we need to. You know what I'm saying? We have trillions of dollars in disposable income, not just money. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have more money, you know what I'm saying, than that. But we have trillions of dollars in disposable income as a community. But we on our ass. That's not math. Like, that shit don't add up. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we had a plan, it doesn't add up. But when you don't have a plan, it makes perfect sense.
Now, why does that happen, though? Because the question is the most important question in anything is always the why. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know the why, you ain't gonna understand the problem. So how the fuck you gonna fix the problem? You know what I'm saying? So why does that? What is the influence on us that has us spending so much money a year rather than investing so much money a year and making so much money a year?
I think it's back to what we were talking about earlier with collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
If you bring it back to us coming off the slave ships, they switched up the tribes. So there was a language barrier initially when there was the most fightiness. You know what I'm saying? So by the time we was all speaking the same language, the same fight wasn't in us. And they use that same paradigm where they have us all speaking different languages. So even though we're strong, and you see LeBrons and Oprahs, we speak in different languages. We ain't on the same shit. So we can't collaborate and really move forward and be like, oh wait, there's more of us than there are of you. You know what I'm saying? There is no spoon. You know what I'm saying? We stopping bullets in the air. You know what I'm saying? That once we realize that we can make the shift, but we're not in a space where we can communicate that to each other, because we all got different goals. We all trying to build our own empire.
Which speaks to the lack of collaboration. I don't know, man. I mean, I think what you're saying is very valid, because on a global scale, we are a majority. You know what I'm saying, so to speak. So as a global community, we do have the numbers to call the shots, but the separation keeps us at a standstill.
Everything comes down to decision making, man. You know, I saw something, some meme that said something to the effect of, you know, if you want to get rich, you can't sell your raw materials, which speaks to Africa. You know, Africa doesn't process or do anything with its own raw materials. It just sells them so that Europe can go do what they do, or Asia can go do what they do.
That's a misconception. It doesn't sell them. It's
they've sold parcels of land. They've been out of the colonial side of it.
They've been conquered, so the profits from those aren't returning to them. So, like, if they were selling their natural resources and receiving the profit, they'd be straight.
But there's some countries that make money off of their natural resources. Is all I'm saying. It's just like oil.
Yeah.
You know, they're selling their oil.
Nigeria,
you know what I mean? There's a sale. There's a sale going on. You know, sale and a purchase.
Yeah, but
so for some of these countries, they're not maximizing their potential as far as how they deal with their natural resources.
Truthfully.
So, for example, just like how you have in South Africa, where like we're taking the land back, you gotta go. You can do the same thing with the diamond mines. You can do the same thing with the copper mines, the bronze mines,
the cobalt mines.
Now, again, there's a cost to be paid. There's definitely a conflict to come from that. So it's not as easy as y'all can't come here no more. But what that does allow you to do is reset the system. You know what I mean? And I think that's similar to what we have here, as far as just people's ability to work together comes from a few different things. But I think the most important part of it is being able to agree on the goal.
Yes.
You know? Now, agreeing on the goal is the most important part, but that's not the only thing. How are we going to get there? You want to go the long way or you want to go the short way? You want to go over land or you want to go over sea? Like, you know, and that's where the communication part is important. You know? But I think the discussion of people coming together and working towards a common goal is great, but I'm a believer of this. I have easier influence over myself than I do others. So for me, I want to dedicate more of my energy to myself than to others, in regards to I can influence certain things that I can't influence for you.
And that's a valuable point, because if you take care of yourself and your tanks is full, you can overflow. You know what I'm saying? But it's like you were saying, I need to let me put it like this. When I'm trying to put this the right way. On that pause.
Well, listen. I think what both of you saying is correct, and I think you brought up something very interesting when you talked about South Africa, because when you talked about I can have more influence over myself, and by doing for me, I can influence others. Right? Powerful statement. What they're doing as a community, if they're able to pull this off, which I believe they will, by taking the land back from those who took it from them, is by saying, listen, the thing is to take back your shit. If it's yours, take it back. There's no shame in doing that. They're kicking people off the land who took it from you. If they're able to set that example and take care of themselves as a community like that, you're absolutely right. The example they set for others by the energy they put into themselves will be monumentous. You know what I'm saying? Monumentous. Because monumental, excuse me. Quick at it on that, yeah. But yeah.
This episode sponsored by Baba Cook.
Yeah, so you know what I'm saying. But that energy will just shoot off. Because what's happening right now, you have the people that have taken the land and know they've taken the land saying we're not going to get this out. We're going to either A, poison the land, or we're already in weapons training to say you're going to have to kill us to take it from us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But I think that also speaks to another thing. We were talking about, I asked the question, why? Why do you think it is we're giving up our dollars the way we are instead of investing them and doing for ourselves? Because we've been taught that it's better to do for others than it is to do for ourselves. It's a psychological hold. And even what's going on in South Africa right now, it speaks to breaking that hold and saying, listen, fuck that. Y'all getting out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
By force or whatever the case may be.
But here, what I was trying to get to before was, even if we differ on how we get to that common goal, if we have a common goal, a common destination, every step we take, if we're consciously moving towards this, even in our different directives, if we're all consciously moving towards the same goal, we all end up in the same place. You know what I'm saying? So it's not as important that we're going in the same direction, going to the same place in the same direction. But if we go into the same place, we're gonna end up at the party. You know what I'm saying? And we gotta decide where the party is at. You know what I'm saying? And we ain't known when the party was at since Mansa Musa was rolling. You know what I'm saying? Since Timbuktu was rolling. Like, and even then we were still on some different shit. We were still splintering. You know what I'm saying? We need to get back to the point where even the motherfuckers who we say is against us, we realize that y'all us. You know what I'm saying?
We got to learn to do something that you pointed to earlier, process our emotions.
Exactly.
You understand? Because that's what's in the way right now, man. You know what I mean? People get mad at the next man for whatever reason, when there's no need to get mad. The ideal is to be inspired. You know what I'm saying? By the next man, not to get mad at him, pick his brain, figure out how he did what he did, do it with him or do it better. You know what I'm saying? But this is what we're dealing with. We don't know how to process how we feeling at the end of the day.
Right.
We don't know how to articulate our feelings. We don't know the importance of speaking things out before taking action, or even sitting back to take a moment to think about what's going on.
And I just watched this documentary with this dude named, I think it's Joe Dispenza or something like that, where he talks about how the body-mind connection and feelings, how your thoughts become feelings, and your feelings can if you let them perpetuate, they become a mood, and the mood can become a personality, and the personality dictates who you are in the world. You know what I'm saying? And all that stems from a feeling that of something that could happen years ago, something that you didn't even experience.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's a feeling, but you don't know how to consciously process the emotion of the feeling, so it stays with you. You can't move past it. And every one of your other decisions is dictated off that. You know what I'm saying? So eventually you have to process that emotion so you can move forward. And collectively, we've never processed. You know what I'm saying? Because I think we're under the illusion that there's a event or a action that will occur that will make everything right. And we need to just realize that this is what it is. And like we said earlier, decide on the goal and be like, this is where we at. This is where we want to go. Let's start moving.
You gotta realize your power, man. You know what I'm saying? I think the biggest hatred comes from rejection of love when you try to extend it and it's been, sent back to you, so to speak. And I think, some dudes don't know how to process and get over that. So they project that to the rest of the world at the end of the day. But it's all in realizing your power. You remember you tried to get that first number, you got shut down. You was feeling terrible. You know what I mean? But when you got that first one, though, you know what I'm saying?
I understand.
You was like, oh shit, I could do this. I ain't even know I'm here. If I did it once, I could do it again.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? But you processed your emotions. You didn't let that first time drive. You didn't punch her in the face If she ain't keep me mad. You was like, alright, cool. You know what I'm saying? I'll catch the next one. And I think that's what we don't understand, and that's why a lot of brothers like we seen in the Bronx.
My first rejection, I was heartbroken, but I still didn't punch nobody in the face.
Yeah, you ain't hurt nobody.
Yeah, I still didn't punch anybody in the face.
Yeah, man. You know, but that's what it is, though. It's just learning how to deal with your feelings, man. And a lot of niggas claim they ain't got no emotions.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. Nah, you just don't know how to deal with the ones that you do have.
Exactly.
That's all that it really is, man. So, you know, we here, man. So we just want to close out at this time and, you know, thank everybody for riding with us once again. Hopefully you'll ride with us the next time as well. Good seeing you. Hopefully it was good seeing us. Alright? Know the code, man.
Finger guns, nigga.
Alright. Till the next time. Salute, y'all.